Today we are driving the all-new Cupra Raval, which is also the brother to the VW ID Polo, this new Polo generation. So new small electric vehicles by the Volkswagen Corporation, here then with the Cupra brand, a little bit more evil brother of the Polo. And the question is, how does it drive? What features does it offer? What is the real world range? We're going to do first consumption tests here, efficiency tests on the German Autobahn. 100 and 130 kilometers an hour, so 60 and 80 miles an hour. Very interesting. And also, can this one here have a real chance to be a best-selling EV? Or is the Chinese competition rolling over the Germans and say, hey, we offer larger cars at lower prices, and do they still have a chance then? Very interesting features here to cover with Thomas Nautical in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the Cupra Raval. Soon also more to the interior, which is more like welcome to the club, basically. Very, very funny. Exterior, very dramatic styling here, cutting down the design lines, the Cupra tribal style or tattoo style logo. Plasma is this very attractive grayish purple color, and also a very cool daytime running light, which is even fancier when you hit the turning indicators or the hazard lights. Then we have a length of 4.5 meters or 159 inches, so a really short vehicle. Front-wheel drive always. 17 to 19-inch wheels. These are the largest wheels that are available. In this case, we have the 211 horsepower spec with 7.1 seconds in the acceleration figure. But you know, the electric vehicles, and if they're light, they really push you directly from standstill. The VZ version, which is, so to speak, the GTI by Cupra, would have 6.8 seconds in the acceleration figure. So not really that much quicker, but it would offer the adaptive suspension, the DCC, which is not available for the non-VZ versions. However, already the standard Cupra Raval versions are sportier in the setup in comparison to the VW Polo, the new ID Polo, because this one here has a 10mm wider track and it's also 50mm lower in the base suspension in comparison to the Polo. In the rear, also pretty cool signature here in red with the logo, and here as well. So after a while it shuts down, that's why I reactivated them here. So design was really spectacular, that it promises a lot of fun. And I can tell you, yes, it will be a lot of driving fun. More to that than soon in the driving part. And it's very funny how the rear wiper fluid is coming out exactly here. And then it rinses down to the rear view camera. And you might say, like, where is that actually? If you only look very, very closely, the camera can't even reach that. And then you can feel that it's like a very small, like something like a nipple or something. And there is actually like the small nozzle where the wiper fluid is coming out. So yeah, a funny observation. So to the batteries, we have two different choices for the ID Polo by VW, then the Cupra Raval, the Skoda Epic and the VW ID Cross. So these four, they actually all share the same platform, two SUV brothers and two small hatch brothers. And you either get 37 kWh LFP or 52 kWh NMC. And then we have 10 to 80% DC charging in about 24 minutes. They say 105 kilowatt DC charging maximum peak. Sometimes there were also figures of 130, but that is just a very, very short peak. 11 kilowatt AC charging. And I mean, that's not too quick. And the batteries are actually also not too large. Yet again, they also don't want to boost the prices too much, but it will be quite expensive actually. Soon more to the prices at the end of the review then. And yeah, this is really a thing right here, because now the Chinese manufacturers, they are really pushing to the market, and then they're offering larger cars at lower prices. Yeah, that's a thing where the Germans really struggle. Yet again, they of course here deliver a great driving dynamic and driving fun, and that can probably be the one differentiating factor. Then again, here the Germans, or then on the Spanish, as we say with Seat and Cupra, they have a lot of power with all their dealer network, and then can also offer good leasing prices. So it's the one thing about list prices. The other thing is, what's the concise leasing offer then, especially with electric vehicles? In the front, there is no frunk for the Polo and the Raval. Why is that? This is the reason. This is a large climate compressor. that it can give a lot of coolness to the interior, basically, and of course also cooling. And this is the reason they didn't have space for the front. The ID Cross and the Skoda Epic, the SUV style, they are a little bit higher here. And then they do offer a small frunk for a charging cable. So I initially said that everything we say today also counts for the ID Polo. Well, most of that, especially also real world range, efficiency and so on. This one is basically like a double review at the same time. There are some differences next to the design, of course. One are the door handles, and well, the VW Polo has the classic door handles, and this one here has the flush door handles that come out. Here, by the way, the emergency, opening and close is right here. You could also, open them manual. It would be possible. I'm more a fan of the classic door handles. At least when they are out, then they are physical and you can move them like here or here. You have some possibilities. Door closing sound is okay. Let's take it that way. Rear is actually better. Then inside of the doors, top part is soft touch. Then we have these Cupra styling inserts and this typical copper or rose gold design with nice ambient lighting integration. And yeah, indeed, it's like a club interior a little bit, especially at night. There's so cool ambient lighting, very special effects. We took some shots in the dark there for you. And the key to that is actually that you have a projection right here. So this is where the projection comes out and then shines here on the inside. So that's why they didn't need to perforate anything here. And this, in a way, a cheaper solution, but it looks even more impressive. So interesting idea. Then it's not so soft for your elbow on the left side, but I appreciate classic window and also side mirror control, just like we know and want it. Hard pack at the inside of the door pockets. Steering wheel in a sporty style. And you have these contrast stitches on the inside, also nice, like carbon fiber style, but like a fabric woven style on the airbag cover. Real buttons on the steering wheel, appreciate also for the volume, drive mode selection, everything a single button, really appreciate that. Also large digital instruments, soon more to that. And also this surface here feels actually very nice. Then you have a base seat in the Cupra Raval. This one is already a seat, a sport seat that is a little bit higher basically. You have microfiber insert, then some fabric on this part, and it's available in black or in gray. And let's take a seat, young Skywalker. And then here. And yeah, first comfort is fine. Steering wheel up and down, in and out, manual way, and they offer actually good shoulder support here, but they're quite sporty. And what's also interesting in comparison to the Cupra Born and the VW ID3, which is the rear-wheel driven platform, but let's say a little bit older technology, they offer a larger battery. That's the good thing there. However, when you compare the seating positions in these individual vehicles, here the new platform, although this is a smaller car, the floor is a little bit lower. So in the ID3 Cupra Born, my feet would be like here. And that is not that good when you have long legs. So it's a little bit, of course, and pro and con. It's actually fine, that seating position. Of course, you still feel somewhat that it is a small car and they don't have too much space as a very tall person here in the front. Welcome to the cockpit, or yeah, as you know, also maybe from the song you can say, welcome to the club. It's a nice song, by the way. You have to put it in your playlist. Then here you have soft touch on top part, and nice ambient light integration, then the copper or rose gold accentuations. Nice structured surface right here. This looks also pretty fancy, and you have also nice opening and closing sound of these air vents. Standard glove box here, but not too much of space. Then underneath you have USB-C chargers and some space. On top of that you have an inductive charging pad, which is also ventilated. A little bit disappointing is here this cup holder area, because it's not really adaptive and the bottles just wobble around a little bit. Also here a little bit soft for your elbow, that's fine. More space than underneath, so you have a lot of storage capacity here. One thing that is rather disappointing is that in the screen you have here this main infotainment screen, which looks also nice, and software and so on is meanwhile also actually pretty decent. Here you can also quickly deactivate a lot of the assistance systems, you know, with some hotkeys and so on, click like this. However, they still carried over the not so much liked sliders here, whereas the VW version gets, you know, like it's not turning down, but like you click up and down and can easier control the AC unit like we used to know, basically. That's the thing. The digital instruments, however, they are actually pretty cool and very large. Here, by the way, very nice. You can mirror Google Maps also in the digital instruments. Have this map view also in the digital instruments. They are actually quite large, gotta say that, and different stylings are available. So maybe more modern, more clean, and this rather analog gauge style, and projected range left and so on. Rear seats, yes, you can have fun at my expense now. You're welcome. I mean, it's no problem with the headroom, but yeah, when a tall driver is driving, there's not much happening with the legroom in the rear. Also here, hard pack at the inside of the doors. They went for some cost savings. Everything hard pack right here. The only soft insert is right there, and the nice copper or rose gold accentuations. Isofix on the outside each, and you see it's more like a single seat design, although this one is allowed also for the third passenger in the rear, and USB-C chargers in the lower part. Stronger boot at 440 liters. Like, where is that supposed to be with that small vehicle? Well, there's a secret to it. Here, this one still fits in vertically underneath, meter of 40 inches in width. Then we're here at 65 centimeters, 25 inches in normal length. And let me remove that top part here because there are astonishing things. See here? This one has a tendency to pop out something here on that side, or maybe someone was not that gentle with it. Yeah, but that happens over time, definitely. So here I've already folded one part. You can also fold the second part here, and then you have a total length here of 1 meters 35, 53 inches. And now it gets even more exciting because this lower floor here, you can either put this open like that, then you have a large space underneath. This is where all the liter figures come from, and then you can also put it up like this, so that's also possible. And you can also remove that whole thing, of course. And here, this is then the maximum height at 43 inches or 1 meters 10. This is great news for some plants buying at IKEA, you know. Yeah, or for example, when you go grocery shopping and then you have something that might not fall to the left or right, then you put it in this lower area because it stands easier, more upright. This one here, by the way, equipped with a subwoofer. You can see it right here. And if you don't go for a version with the subwoofer, then you would have the full 440 liters I was talking about. And then you can even put some, you know, like water boxes here underneath. So very flexible here with this underfloor cover. Even here, another possibility is that you leave this one inside, but then put it here in this lower position. That is, of course, also a very helpful thing. Maybe not for loading through, but why not use it like that? Let's start with the Cupra Raval with facing a red traffic light, because that is special here. Even in the city, it was recognizing that there was the traffic light red and then was reducing the speed and would also come to a stop. But it just turned green again. But yeah, I really want to test that. And that was like the possibility directly here. That's why we directly started with that one. Here is the Travel Assist 3.0. We will soon also test it on the German Autobahn. Then we can tell you more about how it is to drive this car in a fast way. But since this is here the 4 meters 5 long vehicle, so a short vehicle, it is also primarily meant for city driving. And that's why we started with that one right now here. And we can already tell you, this is not the VZ version, so we do not have the DCC, no adaptive suspension. So then it's even more important to go with the smallest wheels, because when we have this combination here, steel suspension and the torsion beam in the rear and the 19-inch wheels, the largest wheels that are available, I'm not sure if you can even see the camera, but this is like a very specific bumpy road, but I picked it intentionally for this ride here to show you that it is bumpy, and there is also some booming noise, especially from the rear axle. So this has to be mentioned definitely. It is a rough, sporty ride. It's even going to affect my voice here now. And also, it's actually 50 millimeters lower than the Polo, and 10 millimeters is the track quite sporty setup here for the Cupra Raval, and you do feel that it is a small city sports car, so to speak. And even in the comfort mode, the steering is crisp, so to speak, very direct. You don't even have to set it tougher. You can actually, when you are here in this Cupra mode, for example, then there's more resistant. There is, by the way, also increasing the recuperation level to also mimic a stronger engine brake, because a normal Cupra combustion engine version would actually have a strong engine brake in the Cupra mode because it shifts gears down earlier. So that all counts when talking D mode, but when you are in the B mode here with pushing the shifting lever here forward, or this automatic shifting lever, in the B mode, it does do the one pedal driving and it goes down to 0 ultimately. So you can go level 1 and 2 in the B mode, and in the D mode you can go 0, 1, 2, 3. So the B mode does not allow for so much changing of the recuperation. However, you can decelerate until 0. Let's see if we can show that to you. I can also do the level 2. So now, and I have to use the brake a little bit now, but there we go. Stop, and I can hear forward, stop. So one pedal driving is possible. You have to switch it to the B mode then here though. Here, and then you have this effect of a very strong recuperation. Very interesting. You can of course set, wow, that's really rough here. It's a very bumpy ride indeed. But then again, the advantage is here. Look at that, look at that. So nice. I'm just carrying on this roundabout. This is awesome. I mean, this feels like a race car now, although we have front wheel drive, and I mean, I don't want to exaggerate it now because we're in the city, but I could easily have gone way quicker around this roundabout. And this, I mean, and Emilia already has fun. That's always the thing with the electric vehicles. Passengers plus electric vehicles plus fast driving is critical, to get sick and so on due to the weight of the vehicle. But here it is fun for everyone in the car, basically. And here it's super tight, actually, super crisp, very nice connection to the road. So literally, it's actually not this city car for the family. It's a
Achtung, Baustelle voraus.
Oh, Achtung, Achtung, halt! Baustelle voraus. This means like it's a construction site ahead. That was the warning from the GPS in the most German way. Hallo, Achtung! So, and now we're going to the German Autobahn because, yeah, we are very German here today on this episode. And the Cupra Raval is also the VW Polo, just with these small changes. This one here is a little bit sportier. That's very cool. It's a lot of fun to drive, definitely. And you're not really missing the rear drive here. Kurze Einfahrt means short entry to the motorway, and there's no problem because then you can just hit it. Woo! Nice acceleration. And I mean, 7.1 seconds is the acceleration figure here for this one, for this endurance version. And it would be 6.8 for the VZ. There's not so much difference between the official sporty version and here the normal version with the big battery. So don't gain much more. It's more that you have the DCC than in the VZ version. That is maybe why you should go for that one. Because yeah, when it's picked here with 19-inch wheels, to me it's actually too rough. But then again, if you like it rough, then it gives you a very, very nice and sporty ride. It is fairly silent here so far in the city. Now on the motorway we can give a little bit more power. Let's go to the Cupra mode for best acceleration, and let's now do 70 to 100. Let's go. That's it. And this was also this electric sound, the sound emulation in the Cupra mode. But it's not really like it's faking a combustion. It's more like, again, this spaceship style, which, did I say spaceship? I meant the other word. Space, with T. Yeah, because honestly, I don't see the reason of that. It doesn't sound cool. Then they should do like in the Hyundai Ioniq 6 or 5N and in Porsche Taycan and stuff, that they have a nice combustion engine sound emulation for that. I think so. Or what do you think? So in the Cupra mode, as I said, increased recuperation. You can also here change it with the shifting pedals. You can also, when you are in the Cupra mode, have the recuperation set to 0. It's also possible. And here you can also cruise through the profiles. Comfort, steering is very light. I've set an individual profile where everything is still comfortable, but the steering has more resistance. You can also use that. You know, I like to have a little bit more feedback from that steering wheel. Dia likes to set it in a lighter way, but yeah, you can enjoy that how you like. Then setting here the cruise control. Told you earlier, new functions like stop sign and traffic light recognition. And here now also let's see how the car is being kept in lane. So far so good. Smooth also here, these transitions. Then a little bit on the right turn, there we go. Yeah, it was already showing me, keep your hands on the steering wheel. But that looks actually quite good. So no problems as for that. Smooth application, like that. By the way, also interesting that they have this like woven surface here on the airbag cover. So that gives you this nice premium atmosphere. As Leah said earlier, you get into this vehicle, drive this vehicle and think you are in a nightclub. That is probably also the goal of this one. Yeah, it is.
Berghain one?
Yeah, it's the Berghain interior. Yeah, so famous Berlin club. But I mean, it does give you some spice when you drive this vehicle, and you know the spice extends life. So, and here we can do a little bit quicker motorway driving now because the unlimited speed sign is coming up. Let's go back to the Cupra mode. We're at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, and now we can also soon reach VMAX top speed for this very version, which should be at 160 kilometers an hour, 100 kilometers an hour. Oh, wait a minute. Now. Ah, that was 140. Oh, can't carry through because they reduced the speed here now. Why did they do that? Maybe there is another Baustelle coming up ahead. Another construction site. Listen and repeat. Baustelle. Which is literally like construction site, yes. Yeah, that makes sense. But, huh? There is nothing here. So, does that still count here now? I mean, that is weirdo. I mean, is it maybe because of that? I mean, there is no construction site, but it's a fake construction site. Yeah, the Tiguan says, I don't agree to that. But I mean, these things indicate construction site, but must be a fake construction site, definitely. So maybe we don't only need the Autogefühl fake exhaust police, we also need the Autogefühl fake construction site police. That's interesting. Yeah, I think that counts as construction. Maybe they want to do, I don't know, stuff that happens live on tape here on Autogefühl, definitely. But we reach 140, and here also on the normal motorway speeds, 100. I think it's fairly silent there. We don't have any special insulation in the side windows, but it's very silent here on the motorway. So interesting, nice and calm traveling feeling on the motorway, and is also very calm and settled on the road when you're here doing a lane change on the motorway, for example. That's pretty cool. So nice sporty behavior of that vehicle. You can, by the way, also switch to this B mode. That also gives you stronger recuperation. What's quite funny, hardly any cars do that. Here it indicates which level it is. And I think you can see it from this camera. And I can switch through 1, 2, 3. And then when I put in the B mode, it directly shows me that this is equal to level 2. I think that's a good indication because we have often vehicles which have the B mode and then the shifting pedals, and you always, or like I pedal or something, and then you always wonder like, okay, like how strong is that? And they are directly showing that. I think that's very customer friendly. Now we're approaching the tunnel, then we can see how our nightclub looks like. There we go, folks. Welcome to the club. Nice ambient lighting right here. Also this hoop around the dashboard in the front. That looks really fancy, right? So yeah, Leah and I have just been gone partying actually. Yesterday was a nice festival in Germany. So that reminds us, definitely. Give me the bass, y'all. And yeah, the second thing is that it is in a tunnel. It's very loud than always. But here it's still very calm on the inside. So definitely we can say calm on the motorway, very settled on the road, very sporty feeling. Does tend to be a little bit bumpy when there are potholes in the road. When the road is flat, like nicely built Autobahn, it's perfect. So much fun to drive as well. But it can be bumpy when there are potholes. Booming noise then in the potholes, definitely. That's the thing. Torsion beam, large wheels. But so nice in the handling, you know. It's really so much, like, you always want to like exaggerate the maneuvers left and right, getting on and off the motorway, really pushing it into the corners. And I have, for example, already driven the Polo in even more extreme conditions and really been hunting it through the corners, and that was also so much fun. Here now, yeah, the brake pedal was nice to dose actually. I tend to have the recuperation set to less or none and then do everything with the brake pedal, but yeah, that's totally a matter of preference how you like that. Here also these 90-degree corners is something that this car is basically craving for, so that's pretty cool. A lot of fun. Definitely this small sports car that Cupra's put here on the road. So is it more fun to drive than the Cupra combustion engine models? I would say so. You know, it feels more agile and more fun. Maybe at some point when the corners get really tight, that you then feel maybe the weight of the battery. That might be a thing where a Cupra Formentor VZ is pretty cool, of course. That one is available also with a 5-cylinder. That is, of course, very, very, very special. Look at that. There's another Baustelle. And I wonder if they're working with a traffic light, you know, and the traffic's, well, that one is still active.
Oh.
And when, I've never seen what they do there. It's very interesting. So when the traffic light jumps to green now, like the arrow, but this lane is actually for going straight.
But the road is closed there.
I was wondering about that, yeah. So we're actually not allowed to do that. Yeah, you see, like things that happen in German traffic. Yeah, and this one's also very important German word. This, the Skoda Octavia VRS, they take as the driving school car in a sedan in green. That's nice. I would have loved to have that in the driving school, and that's called Fahrschule. So listen and repeat, Fahrschule, it's a driving school. Very nice. Maybe we should do a race with the Fahrschule. What do you think about that? So much fun to drive this car here. So the question is, do you appreciate that driving fun? Definitely on cost of comfort. Also, I gotta say, these seats here long-term for tall adults, maybe not ideal. I like that the feet position is not too high, yes. Better than also with the like ID3 and the Cupra Born, in that like how the feet are in the vehicle. Have to note that, although this car is the smaller one. Oh, that's not nice. You can't see it on this side actually, on this side at the moment, but that side has like an integrated blind spot monitor on the right side and like here. So that's pretty cool as well. So additional safety systems nicely integrated. Also like that. Maybe we can induce this. Sure, there's another stop sign or a traffic light or something, but the thing is, of course, always in the city, when you have the cruise control set and want to test that feature, then you need to have a red traffic light. And another thing that is also very important to know, I'm not sure if we can actually replicate that. So last time I was heading towards the, oh no, there's a red traffic light, see. It says traffic light ahead, so does it stop until 0? Efficiency, real world range test here for today. So meanwhile it's a little bit warmer, but while we were driving we were at about 19 degrees Celsius, so in the 60 something Fahrenheit. And then we had, with the 19-inch wheels and the so-called endurance front-wheel drive version here, 211 horsepower, at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, we were at 14 kilowatt hours and more kilometers. 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour would mean a rear range of 370 kilometers, 230 miles at that speed. Then at 130 kilometers an hour, 80 miles an hour, at 18.5 kilowatt hours and 1 kilometer, 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour, rear range 280 kilometers an hour. So rear range is 280 kilometers then, or 175 miles. Well, that means when you're going on the motorway with rather higher speeds, and VMAX, by the way, here is 160 kilometers an hour, unless you go for the VZ version, then the top speed is 175 kilometers an hour. So, but when you go reasonable speeds on the motorway, it's not something you would go on holiday with. The size is not meant for that, yes. It's more like this city EV, secondary owning car and so on. For some it's maybe enough, you know, when you don't do long trips very frequently. But the thing is really that the batteries aren't so large and the efficiency is, I mean, the small EVs, they don't stand so much out to the wind. You could also go for smaller wheels and the efficiency would also be a little bit better, definitely. But it's not like a efficiency and range wonder or something. And then again, that's the thing also in combination to the price, because over here entry-level battery is 26,000 euros, but then you have the small battery. If you go for the bigger battery, then at least 30,000 euros, and then we are at 43,000 euros for this one here. And if you go full spec with the VZ version, you're even over 46,000 euros. Yeah, and then for example, recently XPeng with the L03, they go for some 35,000 euros with a way larger battery and a car that is like this much longer. And that is indeed a problem for the existing manufacturers. What they, however, can do very well is, although this one can be kind of rough from a suspension, it does offer excellent driving dynamics. It's a lot of fun to drive. The assistance systems are also very elaborated, so you feel that the whole engineering process here is on a very, very high skill level. Not that it wouldn't be with new manufacturers, but adapting to the local preferences. That's of course something that they have done for decades, you know. So still all has the pros and cons, but definitely the pressure is rising. So far, we hear from Cupra that they're very satisfied with the first orders for the Cupra Raval. So we hope to see some concise figures there very soon. Looking forward to your feedback. And now it's time to compare the brothers here, like the ID Cross and the ID Polo.